This is a graph of the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere for the last 1,000 years, and you can see that there's a marked spike that we are currently in that started at around 1800, and this is of course what climate change activists are talking about, and why people are proposing to reduce the emissions of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is cycled through the atmosphere, and here you can see one of the pictures that are available on the internet, saying of course that plants produce carbon dioxide and industry. The biggest producer is actually deforestation, because all the carbon is stored in the forest, in the trees. They're made of cellulose, and that's all carbon based, and if you destroy them, then they start to rot, and all the carbon dioxide is released. And the problem is that many people still think about this as a cycle in which the carbon dioxide of course will be reabsorbed. And they think, you know, suppose that we will plant billions and billions of trees tomorrow, then we can suck all the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere pretty quickly and we'll be done. But the problem is with this. This is, I hope this is visible. It's a very bad video this. I should be having the materials to edit it in a beautiful way, but I can't. But this is our atmosphere, and it's pretty high. Well, not considering of course other proportions. It's a very thin layer, but considering the carbon dioxide that's circulating, the carbon dioxide is down there on the ground in the biosphere, and or the troposphere as it is called, and that's only 15 kilometers high. Now if you release carbon dioxide into that block of air, then you have to hope that convection currents and all kinds of currents in the air will circulate it, like here, back to some organism that can convert that carbon dioxide back into oxygen and carbon, and that's cellulose or some kind of other form. It has to reach that plant to become you know, absorbed. And of course, if you have well, let's say above this picture a basin of air which is many times this height, and you expect all that carbon dioxide that is diffused in that block of air to reach back to that thin layer of green at the bottom, and you try to think about how long that will take to happen all by itself, then you're talking about a long time. And that's what people of course are talking about when they are trying to calculate how long it takes for any carbon dioxide that enters the atmosphere to get back into some kind of solid form, non-greenhouse gas form. That takes a long time, and basically that was the original thought behind climate change, which first was published at the end of the 1800s, or 1900s, I say 1800 something. Somebody was just thinking, looking up in the air and saying, okay, all that carbon dioxide, it gets lost into the atmosphere. How does it get back to the plants where it should go in order to disappear out of the atmosphere? And that's why people are really worried about this problem, because it takes a long time to do that, and all the time that it's in the atmosphere, it will heat up the earth. It will absorb the infrared radiation from the sun, and it will heat up, and the atmosphere will become very hot, even high above our heads. And that's the big problem. Of course, there's a lot of radiation out of the atmosphere into space, which is good. So there's a cooling and a heating effect, but on balance people have been calculating of course that the heating effect will win over, and that's a big problem for these things, these green things. You know, there was an article about the giant forest, I believe it's in Yosemite or something, these huge trees, and they're actually dying because they have been living for 1,000 years, but they cannot cope with the temperature changes that are a result of the carbon dioxide emissions. and maybe they can also not cope with the carbon dioxide richness, which is fertilizer to plants. Anyway, the point I wanted to make is that the problem that people see that believe that kind of think through this problem is that it takes a long time to get that carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and all the time it is a problem. Just imagine that somebody put chloride in your swimming pool, and they put too much chloride in it, and you have some absorber of that chloride on the side of your pool to take it out. You know that you have to wait a long time until that chloride is back out of your pool and you can use it to swim in without getting your eyes all red and irritated. The same thing goes with the atmosphere, and that's why it's a very urgent problem that should be dealt with as soon as possible. So my advice, an actionable thought, is plant a tree. Plant something in your garden. It will make a difference. So thanks for listening.